Reena, Jadhav here. We're having a lot of fun at Splash X. We've just walked in from a wonderful panel discussion on the future of behavioral health, and I found Alon Matas, who's going to tell us a little bit about his startup. What do you do?
BetterHelp is an online counseling platform. We provide therapy to people. We do it online over text, phone, or video. We connect them with a licensed therapist, and we just start long-term therapy online. We have a network of 4,000 therapists. Over 500,000 people got therapy through the platform, with around 1.5 million sessions every month.
Now that's interesting because we just heard a panel and they showed some statistics that people prefer to get therapy in person. The numbers were like something like 26% plus preferred. So what data are you seeing? Because clearly from a theoretical standpoint, when people are asked in surveys, they prefer an in-person session.
I think there's a confusion about the online space because it involves two types of services. One is services that try to replace therapy with CBT solutions, self-help, meditations, etc. And the other type, which is our type, is pure therapy. It's licensed therapists talking to you. Just instead of you driving every week and sitting on someone's couch, you're doing this from your own home or office or wherever you are. And that's where we are.
Okay.
We are providing actual therapy with the same licensed therapist you'd see in office, but we solve the access problem, we solve some of the affordability problem, the convenience problem. We just make therapy much more accessible than it is in traditional in-office. But it's the same type of treatment. We're not trying to innovate how therapy is being delivered. It's professional counselors, whether it's LPCs or clinical social workers, psychologists, or marriage and family therapists. The only thing that changes is the delivery that is being done online.
So what is the value that you deliver beyond, let's say, someone just using Zoom video to do a therapy session?
So it's an ongoing relationship with the same counselor. It's not a one-off.
Right, but as a Zoom, like as a therapist, I could set up a Zoom video, $14 a month, and just start seeing my patients that way.
Sure.
What makes you different or better?
So one of the main propositions of the platform is the text-based component, which most people actually prefer to use. So most of our users will use primarily text or even sometimes only text. So you have an ongoing communication with your therapist. Every time something happens, you want to talk with your therapist, you send a message, the therapist will reply back same day or day after. And of course, you can also have the video sessions, the chat sessions, the phone sessions. It's all in one secured platform. And we have over 4,000 therapists, so you're not bound just to one therapist that you found. If you're not happy with the therapist, you have different issues that you think different expertise is required, you can just switch therapists and work with another therapist.
Now, what market are you going after? Because this is a very different, very unusual market, both from a therapist standpoint as well as from an actual patient standpoint. So talk a little bit about what kind of therapists have you signed up? Who are these therapists? Why were they interested in signing up?
Therapists are exactly the same therapists that you'd find in office. They are usually with around 10 or more years of experience. A lot of retirees, actually. It's an interesting population of therapists, so people who have tons of experience but retired from working in schools or army or prisons or private practice settings, and they're not going to now to continue market themselves, open an office. They still have a lot of experience.
So you're the marketing hub for them?
We're in marketing help, with
Got it.
the technology help, we're connecting them with the consumers.
Got
we
it.
take care of everything but the billing. The biggest proposition we have to the therapists is that they can focus only on providing therapy. There's no paperwork, there's no marketing, there's no office, there's no overhead. 100% of the time is helping people.
And what about on the consumer side? How, because that would have been harder. I think it's easier to get therapists. Obviously, it would be harder to go out and get the sign-ups there. How have you successfully managed to get that much volume?
So we definitely do a lot of awareness campaigns, whether it's through social media or search or influencers. We do TV ads, we do billboards, we do everything possible to get the word out that there is a solution for therapy. If you're looking for therapy but you don't want the cost and the inconvenience and the inaccessibility of in-office, there's an option that is available online. Now, 5 years in, we'll also have hundreds of thousands of people use our service, so there's also a lot of word of mouth and people that tell their friends and loved one about how they got help. So we definitely get a lot of that, but we're still doing a lot of advertising, a lot of awareness campaigns.
So of all the things you mentioned, right, from SEO to influencer marketing to social media, what is the one thing that worked the best?
It's a mix of a lot of things. Definitely search and social are the biggest
Not
channels.
Facebook.
Facebook is social.
Unhappy on this Facebook post, click here and talk to a counselor.
So search is more people with intent. So if you're looking for counseling, we'll make sure that you're aware of this option.
Okay.
With social media, it's more about, I know I need help. I know I need professional help. Maybe I'm thinking about therapy, but I'm actually not going to do anything about it. And then we may show on your feed and saying, if you're thinking about therapy because you need help,
right,
there might be an easier way to do that, because a lot of people, most people actually know that they need some help, but they think it's too hard. And sometimes it's really too hard, too expensive. So there is a way to get help that is not as expensive, not as inaccessible, not as difficult as you may have thought it is.
One of the challenges, I think, in mental health in general is how do you track results, right? So if someone's got a blood pressure issue, it's very easy to track, hey, blood pressure is back to normal, we know this thing worked. Mental health is a lot more subjective. What are you doing to track results?
So we use the same industry standard measurements like PHQ-9 for depression. Therapists themselves have ways to measure that. We offer over 150 worksheets that some of them measure results, measure progress. We also have features built in the platform for setting and tracking goals. Okay. So there's some accountability to the treatment. It's not just never-ending talk therapy. There are goals set and there's progress that, and the way it works, the therapist will suggest a goal, the client will need to confirm the goal, and then together they will update the progress towards that goal. So there's a lot of measurement there, but also just if you talk about depression, PHQ-9 or PHQ-21 are the usual ways to how we track depression symptoms. And there was actually a study published in January by UC Berkeley and UCSF and some others about the effectiveness specifically of BetterHelp using PHQ-9 as measuring reduction of depression symptoms, and they found that the progress people make in BetterHelp online is comparable or is sometimes even better in some categories to traditional in office. So that definitely works, and proven also on measuring actual outcomes.
What demographics have you been pursuing?
So our demographics is actually very similar to in office. So more female than male go to therapy, and there are more female than male at BetterHelp. It's maybe skewed a little bit younger, but just a little bit. Other than that, you'd find the same type of people that go to therapy in office. Slight uptick in rural areas where access problem is even more intensified than others, but there's nothing that stands out in online versus in office. It's pretty much the same.
Great, exciting. So for those of our founders looking for some insights and tips, you've come really far, you've had some good successes. What's your one or two pieces of advice to any founder trying to build a digital health company?
Well, we started with direct to consumer, and there's a lot of discussion, also a discussion today about going to consumers or going to payers, and there's this whole notion of, oh, consumers won't pay, so you have to go to payers. And I think what we proved is that, and some other startups, is that consumers will pay if you give them a product they like, a product that they can use, and a product that gives them value. It's not true to say that consumers will never pay and they will always rely on their employer or health insurance provider. You just need to find the right product that resonates to them and bring them a real solution to a real problem.
Which brings us to, how much do you charge?
So for the consumer, it will be between $180 to $260 a month. Depends on the plan. It's a membership, and with that membership you can have unlimited text communication with your counselor, and also a weekly live session over chat.
So it's a lot cheaper.
It is much more affordable than in office because we cut out all the overhead. There's no office, no marketing.
So how much does the counselor get paid?
So they're getting paid based on the engagement they have with their members. It's not a percentage model where we pay them a percentage.
I see.
As they engage more and work more with their clients, they will get paid more. Definitely we have counselors who made it their full time. We have counselors who do that to augment their current private
But
practice.
what is the hourly rate that they end up earning through
It's
you?
not based on hours because there's also a lot of text communication, so it's based on how many messages they have, what is the length of messages, how many sessions, the type of sessions they have. But we make sure that we pay them fairly, which is why our network is pretty much doubling itself every year. And for a lot of them, it's a great way to really focus on therapy and to make very significant income from online counseling.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.